The calendar moves toward your birthday, and other people seem more excited than you are. You mute the reminder, decline the big dinner, and feel relief when the day stays small. Then someone asks what is wrong with you for not wanting the celebration. If you are among people who prefer their birthday to remain ordinary, ask what this experience is responding to and what would make it more useful. That question opens a better conversation than another quick judgment about your personality. People sometimes reduce not caring about birthdays to being ungrateful, joyless, antisocial, or secretly damaged. That conclusion is too small to explain the experience. A birthday combines attention, expectation, memory, and social performance. Not everyone experiences that combination as pleasure, and a preference for privacy does not require a hidden tragedy to justify it. The behavior can make sense without being ideal, and understanding its purpose does not excuse every consequence. There is no single personality type behind not caring about birthdays. Temperament, learning, stress relationships, culture, and practical circumstances can combine in different proportions. Treat this explanation as a framework, not a diagnosis, and keep only what matches the evidence of your life. Start with one possible mechanism. Being the center of attention can feel exposing even when the attention is affectionate. Hold this first explanation lightly and compare it with what your body choices and energy actually do. Compare this first clue across several situations before deciding what it means. Watch how that looks in a workday. Coworkers gather around a cake while you focus on performing the correct amount of enthusiasm. In the first scene, the need beneath the behavior matters more than how the behavior looks from outside. Read the first scene through need timing and aftermath rather than appearance. A second layer is easy to miss. A scripted demand to feel happy may create pressure when your real mood is neutral, tired, or complicated. The second explanation becomes useful only when the same conditions repeatedly produce a similar response. Use the second clue only if it predicts more than one response. The experience becomes clearer in private. A family member plans a surprise because they love you, but the loss of control overwhelms the love in the moment. The private scene reveals whether the response brings genuine recovery or merely delays discomfort. Use the private example to compare real recovery with delayed discomfort. The third piece concerns attention. Past disappointments can make low expectations feel safer than hoping other people will remember correctly. For the third explanation, distinguish what you observed from the meaning you assigned afterward. Keep observation and interpretation separate while testing the third clue. Social situations add another clue. You enjoy one quiet meal with a close friend, yet dread a room where everyone watches you open gifts. The social scene shows what happens when belonging, visibility, or another person's expectations enter the equation. Let the social example reveal the extra weight of belonging and visibility. Another part appears under pressure. Some people value spontaneous meaning more than rituals attached to a date on the calendar. This fourth possibility matters most when pressure changes the intensity, timing, or cost of the response. Pressure is the comparison point for the fourth clue. Now place the same response inside a stressful week. Social media fills with public messages, and responding to each one turns affection into an obligation. The stressful week example separates a stable preference from a temporary response to depleted capacity. Use the stressful example to check whether depleted capacity changes the response. A final mechanism helps explain repetition. Birthdays can sharpen awareness of time, aging, family changes, or goals that did not unfold as expected. The fifth explanation should increase choice. Discard it if it only supplies a more sophisticated insult. A useful fifth clue creates options instead of another fixed identity. One final scene separates a trait from a trap. At midnight, you feel peaceful until you remember that tomorrow will include questions about your plans. The final scene asks whether the behavior remains flexible when circumstances, energy, or relationships change. Let the final example test whether choice remains available as circumstances change. To make the birthday privacy pattern more precise, compare three conditions: a rested day, a depleted day, and a day spent with people who feel safe. Notice whether the response changes in speed, intensity, or cost. If it shifts with context, the context belongs in the explanation. That comparison prevents one difficult moment from becoming a permanent identity. Look for a counterexample to birthday privacy as carefully as you look for confirmation. Remember a time when the usual response did not happen, happened less strongly, or ended sooner. Ask what was different about preparation, energy, environment, expectations, and support. A counterexample reveals the conditions that make greater choice possible. The hidden cost of birthday privacy deserves equal honesty. The preference becomes costly when silence leaves people guessing. Resentment builds around unwanted plans, or the day reliably brings distress that you feel unable to understand. Preserve whatever the response protects, connects, restores, or clarifies. Change the portion, reducing freedom, straining trust, or moving you farther from what you value. Start by observing the pattern. Tell close people what a good birthday actually looks like for you before they begin planning from their own preferences. A second step is practical. Offer a concrete alternative such as coffee, a walk takeout, or no celebration at all instead of only rejecting the large version. Third, make the change specific. Separate gratitude for someone's care from consent to the event they imagined. Fourth, make the new response repeatable. If the day carries grief or disappointment, make room for that feeling without forcing it to become a cheerful performance. Fifth, use support carefully. Choose one private marker of time, such as writing a note to your future self or revisiting a place you value. Sixth, review what actually happened. Limit notifications if public attention is tiring, then answer meaningful messages on your own schedule. Finally, know when more support is needed. When someone is disappointed by your boundaries, stay warm and clear rather than agreeing to a celebration you will quietly resent. You are allowed to want less ceremony, and other people are allowed to enjoy birthdays differently. Respect works in both directions when nobody treats preference as a personality defect. Flexibility means choosing among several responses instead of being pushed into one move. An understandable response does not have to become the only move available. Try one 7-day experiment designed for birthday privacy, but do not repeat a generic ritual every day. Choose one relevant action, use it in a real situation, and record the outcome. Keep revise, or discard the experiment according to evidence rather than guilt. Your birthday does not have to prove that you are loved, social, grateful, or successful. It can be a loud party, a quiet dinner, an ordinary Tuesday, or something in between. The date belongs to your life before it belongs to anyone else's expectations. The goal is not a new label. It is enough understanding and flexibility to make a more deliberate next choice.